Thank you, Anthony. Good afternoon, Ange. Start as usual with team news. Pedro Porro, Richarlison.
Yeah, headline news, I guess. Everyone from last week is fit and available. Coming back, Pedro's good. He's trained all week. He's no problem. Everyone else, including Richie, still not training with the main group, so unavailable.
A real feature of the games at the start of the season was Spurs coming out of the traps fast and invariably taking the lead in games. In recent weeks, they've been sluggish starts, invariably going a goal down. Is that just football? Is that just one of those things? Or is it becoming a trend? And is it a trend you know how to address?
Yeah, look, I get it. It's kind of interesting to always kind of take a snapshot. But I reckon we've had it all this year. We've scored early, scored late, conceded early, conceded late, conceded from set pieces, scored from set pieces, defended well. Mate, it's just a season of football, particularly for a team like ours that is very much trying to build something. It's going to happen. Trends for me is something that happens over, a longer period of time and something that's kind of becomes endemic. But I see absolutely no difference in winning a game 3-1 and scoring 3 goals in the first 15 minutes or scoring 3 goals in the last 15 minutes. To me, there's no difference in it now. For some reason, one seems to be that it's more convincing if you score early and sort of are comfortable after that, whereas if you score late, it tends to navigate towards that maybe you had a struggle. But I think you look at trends historically, I think from the first year I managed, all my teams scored late goals. It's part of kind of the game model. So if anything, I think that's tilting towards more of kind of the team we want to be.
Just one other one from me. You may or may not be aware of this, but you know what fans are like. A lot of the fans in the build-up to this one have been talking about the fact that Matty Cash put in a tackle on Bentancur in the last game, which caused him to go off with an injury and quote-unquote revenge for that. Do you have any job in your hands to just keep players calm, that they're not coming out there all fired up?
Yeah, I wouldn't place solely ownership on the fans. It seems like you're fueling it a bit yourself. So, no interest, mate. And it's for us, the challenge is we're going to face a really good team with really strong home form. And beyond that, you'd be surprised at how sort of little that sort of stuff infiltrates what we do and kind of our motivations around a game of football. If anything, like I said, they're the kind of things that you hope as you mature as a team and develop as a team become less and less important or a focus. Because I think when you're clutching at those kind of things, you're kind of losing sense of what's important. What's important for us is that we go out there and, like I said, we've got to be at our best to play against a very good football team and try and get a result.
Hi, Ange. Good afternoon. The top four competition is very, it's fascinating this season. And I was wondering, when you took the job in the summer, obviously so many changes in the club, Harry Kane left and people joined, etc. Did you imagine the team will be involved in the top four?
Look, I think I've said all along, I didn't have any specific targets. It was one of those, because I think if you kind of say our target was, okay, we want to finish, as you say, in the top four, we're there or thereabouts at the moment. That might mean that the players or even the club gets comfortable, and I just don't want us to ever be in that sort of position. My belief was that we would be very competitive this year, and I thought, we would definitely improve on last year and see where that takes us. But I think for the most part we've handled everything that's happened this year, and kind of, like I said, the first year of trying to build something. I think we've handled it for the most part pretty well. I think we've been competitive in just about every game we've played this year, which is, as a manager, that's kind of what you're looking for. I've said before, performances, results have fluctuated, but not our competitiveness. I think even the games we've lost, we've been in, and even the wins that maybe we haven't been convincing in, we've still been very, very competitive, and it's a good place to start.
I want to ask you about Timo Werner, please. Scored against Palace, his first goal for the club. He looks more confident, more comfortable as well. How satisfied are you with what he brings you to the team?
Yeah, look, I think he's been really important. If you can only imagine if we didn't bring him in January, there would have been a much bigger burden on the other players in the group, particularly when Sonny was away as well. And we threw him in straight away. And when you come in January, especially for somebody at Timo's sort of standing, he's a mature player. He's not sort of a young player we've brought in to develop. We're bringing him in to make an impact, and I think he has made an impact for us. But I do think there's more to come from him for sure. And he's working hard at training. I think his performances are improving. I thought last week was probably his best performance, aside from the goal. I thought it was his best performance for us. So that's great for us. And I think it's also helped guys like Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski and others. Like I said, the burden would have been pretty big on those guys if we hadn't brought Timo in.
Aston Villa this weekend, Villa Park is a fortress. It's a difficult place to go to. How impressive have you been with them this season?
Yeah, very. Even last year, I think from when Unai came in, and look, he's got a track record of building really strong teams, and you can see that they've got a clear identity, that they understand what they need to do on a weekly basis. The players they've brought in really suit the way the manager wants to play, and they've been hugely impressive. As you said, their home form, but just in general, again, another team that for the most part is competitive every game, so it's going to be a tough one, but great for us. Looking forward to it. It's a big game, as you said, particularly away from home, and good test of us. Like I said, I thought we were good last week. Really pleased with our performance in general last week, and hopefully we can build on that.
Ian. Ange, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, bud.
Last week you were talking about the fact that you'd like more games this season because for momentum and seeing the pluses and what have you for your squad. This week you're going to a massive game. You've had a whole week to prepare. Villa have had a trip to Amsterdam. Does that make it an advantage for you or not?
No, I don't know how many. Maybe I've got to do it in Greek or another language. I'd love to be in Europe. I think I've said it already. I would love to have had a game yesterday and the day before. I would love it. It would thrill me to the deepest part of my soul. My heart would be bursting. I would be that ecstatic. If that doesn't make it clear that I would prefer to have games rather than not, I'm not sure what will.
I just thought about in terms of
You're coming back again, aren't you?
No.
Yeah, you're not convinced.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe do the Greek.
No,
yeah, you're right.
I'll move on, shall I?
Okay.
Everyone's been impressed with Ollie Watkins' form this year. When you take on a team like Villa, how much more attention do you give to someone like that, or do you just give the normal attention to the team you're playing?
No, look, I think for all teams you kind of respect their strengths and weaknesses, both from individuals. But I think when you look at Villa, it's more about the collective. But Ollie Watkins has been outstanding, and not just this year. I think, you look at his career, his durability to just play game after game and still maintain a high level of performance and improvement in performance. Credit to him, obviously, the coaches he's worked with. But, when the way he leads that line is outstanding. But for us, it can't be just the focus because, as I said, I think to challenge and sort of overcome a team like Villa, you really got to look at the collective because they're very well organised defensively. They've got a real kind of some key players when they do get the ball. John McGinn's outstanding. All these kind of players who that if you just focus, say, on stopping Ollie on any given day, there's so many others that can hurt you. So our focus will be on, like I said, for us, it's still about us. It's about our performance. If we play well, as I said, I can't remember a game where we haven't been competitive, and we're going to have to be competitive again on the weekend, and then hopefully we show the quality we need.
And finally, you're a man of the people. You're a fans' favourite, fans' champion. This week, the fans not massively happy with the increase in season ticket prices, and some of the concessions will be leaving. Can I just get your view on that? Because, this time when everyone's struggling, coming to football is probably their one big thing for the week.
Yeah, again, I think I've been consistent in saying around all these kind of subjects and topics, I don't think it's my place to kind of try and, articulate a position because other people are in charge of these areas. I've said a million times that I'm the spokesman for the football aspect of this club, and I'd hate it if somebody came out here one day and tried to explain my tactics or my my team selections, and I'm not going to do the same. And I've also been consistent in saying that supporters are the lifeblood of any football club, and I'm not going to be, trying to dictate how they feel. They have a voice, they have a strong voice, they have avenues to express their opinions, and I will always abide by that and accept that, even if sometimes, and as a manager, I've certainly had it when it's against you. You've got to respect the fact that they have a very strong voice and they're allowed to express that.
Jack.
Hi, Ange. Brennan Johnson's obviously been really good in the last few weeks, even though he hasn't necessarily been starting. At what point does he give you a difficult decision about putting him back in the 11?
Look, they're all, I don't know about difficult decisions. They're kind of easy decisions. And the good thing about Brennan, as you said, is that now he's kind of contributing and it's important. It's been important for us in recent games, but it will be important for us moving forward. But that doesn't mean that that's him consigned to that, that position. But I think overall, I think his year has, we've seen growth in him. He's understanding better the demands of the position, which is a bit different to probably what he was used to. And you can see him growing all the time. And he's still a very, very young man for us in terms of particularly in that striker position. And we see a lot of growth in him. And like everyone else, I said last week, they're all there. In front of me every day with the opportunity to present themselves to play, and whether that's to start or not to start, what I'm looking for is an impact, and Brennan's been making that.
Okay. Back to Ali, please. No? Back to George then, at the back, please.
Hi, Ange. Villa Park can obviously be a hostile atmosphere, and I guess maybe not for the team, but fans feel like there's a bit of needle because of that sort of Matty Cash tackle. I guess you're going to look for your players to be calm, and would you almost be looking to someone like Cristian Romero to kind of lead the team and being calm and composed, because this season he's been transformed when it comes to that composure?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't put it down to an individual player. It's us as a group, but to be fair, I think we've kind of displayed that already this year. We've played some pretty tough away venues already, and I think we've coped with what's been thrown at us. Even, like I said, the games we didn't win, we were right in them. So, there's no reason why we have to do anything different on Sunday that we've been doing all year. I think rather than those kind of things, more important for us is, like I said, a real focus on playing our football, continuing to try and impose ourselves on the opposition, and I think that's going to be more important than the kind of the other stuff around it. Because, like I said, we've been to already some very difficult venues, with some pretty passionate atmospheres, and I think we've coped with it well.
And just with Romero, I mean, as I say, he's sort of kept the yellow cards to a minimum, and he's also chipped in with a lot of goals for now. How impressed have you been with his overall aspect of play this year?
Oh, look, he's outstanding, but I thought he was from day one. He's a World Cup winner. You don't win World Cups as a starter, not just part of a squad, a real contributor. Great pedigree, great defender, great guy, very driven, very motivated, highly competitive at everything he does. I love that. There's nothing else you'd want in an athlete, and a great example for the rest of the guys.
And just finally from me, back to the season tickets. I mean, obviously, the best chance a club has of success is when everyone is sort of united and pulling in the same direction. Would you kind of worry that with the fans being unhappy with this season ticket increase and the concessions changing, that could jeopardise the fact that everyone is united and not all together pulling in the same direction?
Yeah, but again, that would be me trying to dictate people how they should feel. I'm not going to do that. How they feel is how they feel. If they're not happy with something, they've got every right to express that. My role within that, like I said, is hopefully produce a team that, that they gives them hope and belief, and that's where my role begins and ends. I'm never, I know how much football fans are invested in their clubs, and I'm not going to sit here and tell them that, put aside your feelings, or if you feel something strongly about something, just for the good of the team. No, well, if you feel strongly about something, you feel strongly about something, and they're allowed to do that. My role, like I said, is hopefully to produce a football team that they gives them hope and belief, and gives them something to smile about at the end of the week.
And can we finish with James, please?
Hi, Ange. There's a possibility that 5th place might be good enough for Champions League. Do you allow yourself to think like that, or can you only focus on top 4?
There's 12 games to go. If I'll shoot for 8th. Let's see how we go, and I'll feel really happy about myself. I don't see the sense in trying to aim for something other than number 1. What's the point? I don't see the point,
It's more to think that it's an insurance policy potentially.
For what?
Well, if you can't get in the top 4.
Okay, so there were a couple of teams that got into the Championship Leagues this year from last year that had a good season. Does that guarantee anything the following season? No. So I've said all along, I'm in no desperation to get something just for comfort or insurance. I'm here to create a team that wins things. And for me, it defies logic. I'm just not built that way to aim for anything other than the top. Now, it doesn't mean you're always going to get there. Well, I'm not going to settle for anything other than that. If I fall short, well, that's on me. Okay, but I'm not going to sit here and try and create a scenario where we're happy with anything other than being the best. Just the way I think.
And given that aim, how important then is Champions League qualification to help you develop the squad to then go and try and win the league?
It's no more important than it's not actually. What's more important is that come the end of this year, we've got a team that's going to challenge the following year and keep growing. And we're only going to do that if right now the most important thing is us, our identity and our football. Because just getting into, mate, it's not a Willy Wonka golden ticket, It just gets you a year in Champions League. But if you don't build on that, if you don't grow from that, it's meaningless. I think anyway, because we're not in it for participation. We're in it to win things. So, yes, Champions League will show that if we make Champions League this year, it means we've progressed from last year. Yes, but has our football progressed? Are we a better team? Are we a stronger team? Are we going to improve in the summer to make sure that next year we're going to be even better? That's much more important to me. And so my target this year has always been to create a team that I hope will lay strong foundations for moving forward, being a team that can win things. That's where it begins and ends. Logically, as you say, if we've improved and we make Champions Leagues, it means we've had a decent year. But that isn't going to give me any comfort if we're not playing, football that I want us to play, and we don't improve in the off season to make sure we're ready for the next step.
I think the general perception would be if you're not in the Champions League, it's just harder to develop in the way that you're describing. But from what you're saying, you don't agree with that.
No, I don't. No, I think your development is your development. If you keep getting stronger as a team, those kind of things don't even come into the equation. You should be there all the time. But if that's your goal, and thinking that is some, like I said, golden ticket to some endless riches, it's not the case. And there's plenty of evidence, even this year, that you can see that that's not the case.